start with the flag salute, and Eric Hicks, our fire chief, has volunteered or been orders to lead us.
Please stand for a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Eric. I'd like to start out the evening with the announcement of upcoming events. Devin, would you go right there, Brandy, if you'd like to announce what you have going on.
Sure. Thanks, Lou. So, not a lot coming up for events, as we all know, we're in the winter slump, right? I'm Devin, by the way. I think I know a lot of you guys, but for the new folks, welcome. So awesome to see you guys. I just want to let everybody know to pay attention to some of, we'll be sending out announcements as it gets closer, but our April quarterly meetings, the next time we meet here, we'll have Sheriff Mitzi Johanknecht in the house. And so if you guys want to meet our new Sheriff Mitzi, I see some people dancing out there, all right? Some dancing over here. She will be here to let you know, kind of meet and greet and tell you guys what she's all about. So put that in your calendars for April 17th. That same time, same place. We'll have her there and some other speakers as well. Did you guys like the open house format? Yeah. You guys get to talk to some folks and learn some things? Cool, we'll try to do that again then too. So I'm going to transition over really quick. Oh, in April also is when we have our board elections, just to throw that out there as well. We'll be putting more information out about that. One thing I really wanted to let you guys know, kind of transitioning into the announcements portion, is that we are a very small, all-volunteer nonprofit. We're a 501c3. We kind of thrive off community support and volunteers, and also donations. And so one thing that we just rolled out, if you go to our website, is a way to do an automatic monthly donation. It can be $5, $10, $20, whatever makes sense to you. If that's something that you're able to do, I'm not going to do what most organizations say and be like, oh, give up your coffee, and you can donate $5, because I'm not giving up my Nubsats coffee. So I don't know about you guys. I'm not going to ask you to do that. So if it makes sense for you guys and you've got some extra capacity at the end of the month, $5, $10 or more per month, those sorts of investments, those sustainable donations, those really, really make a difference. If you want to see exactly what we're doing with those dollars, I'm the treasurer, so you can come to every single one of our monthly board meetings. We meet at the fire station admin building. You can ask Sharon where that is exactly. I will tell you everything that we're doing with the money. Even better, I'm going to give you a treasurer's report that lists every single transaction we've had and why we've done it. So if you guys want to know how we're stewarding your money, we'll do that too. But just wanted to put that out there. If you've got the capacity to do it, a few bucks a month makes a huge difference. Our website is mywesthill.org. Click on the donate button and it'll tell you all you need to know. One-time donations are acceptable too. But we really, really, really appreciate you guys. This is the lifeblood of what we do, and you guys give us your support, because we can't do any of this without you guys. So thank you so much, and I'm going to get off the stage.
Thank you, Devin. Yes, anybody here that has not been to one of our quarterly meetings, this is a real important to our organization, because 5 of our directors their terms are up, and and if you have any person that you would like to nominate during that meeting, you can ask them. You can nominate them for any positions that we might have available. Some of our directors will probably stay on for another term, but we welcome new blood. And hopefully you will all come and bring the neighbor along. We've got more room in this room. So as you are aware that we have a lot of dignitaries from the King County and government, and I'd like to start off with Alan Payton. He has been in charge of giving us some direction and connection with King County Council, so thanks for being here, Alan. And I'm just going to start off with the fire department. Eric Hicks, would you like to give a community report?
Start with our speakers, though.
Better give him a time. Okay, hold on, I gotta get some prompts.
That's your favorite day.
All right, I'm not gonna use the microphone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
First, I'd just like to thank the community. Last year was a pretty eventful year for the fire department. The levy passed, excess levy, which was very important for the fire department to continue operations and to continue to grow. We're bringing on new volunteers all the time, and so it's important for their training that we have those funds. Also to keep our facilities up and going and look at purchasing some new equipment in the future. So thank you very much for passing that. Passed by more than 70%. Next, we had a new commissioner that was voted in as well. Commissioner Craig Buckton, he's in the back. Good evening, Craig. Craig has been in the community ever since he was born. He was a volunteer firefighter. His father was a volunteer firefighter in the 70s for Skyway, so he has a long history up here in Skyway, so we welcome him. Outgoing Commissioner Gene Lux, we recognize him for all the great work he did, 24 years as a commissioner for the fire department. So we recognize him and thank him for his service. So I had a few questions tonight. A couple people came up to the table and asked were there any big fires or any big calls going on. And we just had a fire recently, which was a kitchen fire. I'll tell you a little bit about it. They were frying chicken, and the husband left the room, and there was a loud bang, and he came back, and the cabinets were already starting to catch fire. Okay, so that's unintended cooking. One of the #1 causes in kitchen fires. And so I'm gonna give you a few remedies of that. One is never cook when you've been sleeping, when you're really tired, when you've been drinking, and don't leave the room when you're cooking. Now, I know if you're gonna simmer in the crock pot, I don't expect you to stay there for 8 hours and watch it. But definitely if you're frying something or cooking something in the oven that's gonna have grease, you can definitely start a fire that way. Now, if you do get a fire in the pan, that's contained to the pan, you should have a lid the same size as the pan close by. So that way if a fire does break out in the pan, you can take that lid and just cover the flames and contain that fire inside the pan, and then turn the stove off and let it sit. It's gonna smoke, but you're smothering the fire, okay? You're taking oxygen away from the fire. Now, if the fire has extended to the cabinets, a lot of people ask about, well, what about a fire extinguisher? Okay, so if the fire has extended to the cabinets, and you wanna use a fire extinguisher, first you need to know where it's at, okay? Sometimes these things end up underneath the sink, way back behind the Lysol and cleaners and all that. And you need to know how to use it, all right? So before you even grab the fire extinguisher, someone in the house should be calling 911 and evacuating the house, right? Second is, someone's going to call 911, again, you're gonna grab the fire extinguisher and you're gonna use pass, aim, squeeze, sweep, pass. Okay, that's the acronym. You wanna start about 4 or 5 feet away from the fire, okay? You're gonna pull the pin, you're gonna aim, you're gonna squeeze, and you're gonna point at the base of the fire, you're gonna sweep. All right? Now, a couple important things is, if the fire got up into the cabinets and there's a lot of smoke, you don't wanna fight fire to smoke, okay? If you're coughing and choking and stuff, it's past that point. You gotta let us come in and take care of it. Now, how about using water on a kitchen fire, on a grease fire? What would that do? You gotta spread, that's right. So, people ask me all the time, well, can you use flour? Can you use baking soda? Okay. Yes, you could use baking soda, but that would involve you getting really close to the flames and trying to douse the flames with baking soda. I've seen a few videos on YouTube where someone takes a wet towel and they try to smother it that way. So that's something that we recommend. You're incorporating water, you're getting close to it, and you're incorporating some type of material that can burn. All right? So pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. The other thing is if you have a fire extinguisher, the non-rechargeable fire extinguishers are good for about 12 years. Right? And so after 12 years, you're supposed to discard them. I know that's hard to do when you have a perfectly good-looking one and it's 12 years old to get rid of it. And they go, well, where can we take it? Well, normally the King County Hazardous Waste would take these, or your local fire extinguisher company will trade them out. Okay? And they don't cost that much if you need to buy a new one or if you need to get it serviced. They normally wouldn't service a rechargeable one. They'll just take it apart and do whatever you need to do to it. Okay? But at least once a year, you should take it, you should inspect it, you should make sure that the gauge is still up in the green, nothing's cracked on it, okay? It's still in good shape. Turn it up and down about 5 times, pound the bottom to make sure the powder stays loose. All right? So that at least once a year. Any questions on the fire extinguisher? Oh yeah, look at them, all
I was
right.
thinking, you already answered for how long they're good for, and the other question I have is those blankets that you can throw over the fire.
Mhm.
How long are they good for? Do they dry out?
I'm gonna be honest
They're
with you,
not
I've
used?
never seen that type of fire blanket.
They're sealed in a tight plastic
A plastic bag, yeah.
that you have to open, and then I wonder how long are those good for?
I'm not sure, I would have to, look into it, but I definitely look at the manufacturer directions, instructions on the back, yeah. The question back there?
What about the kind you buy at McClendon's, Lowe's, you know, just the store-bought ones?
Those are good. Those are good. And they even sell ones that are just for grease fires. And they're about a little bit bigger than an aerosol can. But you gotta remember that's just for grease. This is for paper, grease, and electrical. This is the ABC fire extinguisher. Yes, sir.
Your typical home extinguisher, about how long do they last in for use?
So, like if you pull and you start, so you're looking at anywhere between 12 and 20 seconds, depending on the size. Other questions on fire extinguishers? Good. Okay, so I have a few, some information on my table there you can look at. Our annual report kind of shows how we performed last year, kind of gives a year review of what the fire department was involved in, the good cooking fires that we were talking about today, and also electrical fires. I'll just take a few more minutes to talk about space heaters. Starting back in October, November, it's getting colder, you start using space heaters. Also your baseboard heaters, we want to make sure that we keep a 3-foot safety zone from any type of materials, pillows, covers, that sort of thing. It's easy to get out of bed in the morning, you have a baseboard heater, and you just throw the covers off you and everything sloughs off the bed onto the baseboard heater. You go to work during the day, it kind of warms up, and then before you get home at night, the temperature drops and the thermostat kicks on and the heater can kick on. Okay, you can have have yourself a nice roaster. So you need to be careful with space heaters and baseboard heaters, very important. 3-foot safety zone. All right, any other questions for me? Well, thank you again, and I'll see you next quarter.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, we have a number of people here tonight that we'd like to get introduced, but I'd like to start with the Sheriff's Department. We're fortunate enough to have a good representation, so we'll get those introduced. So when you see them on the street, you can say hi, and well, I'm just going to turn the mic over.
Hi, how you doing? Everybody hear me? I'm not very good with microphones, so I'm just going to put it down before I break it. If I get to roll off, I'll break it anyways. Anyways, for those who don't remember, my name is Deputy James Mitchell. I'm the West Hill Storefront Officer. I've been the West Hill Storefront Officer since the fall of 2016, roughly October, November timeframe is when I came here. However, I've been gone for a year. So I was here for about 3 months, and then I'm in the National Guard. I got deployed, and I just came back last December. So this is more of a reintroduction than anything else. There's 4 things. I didn't prepare any speech tonight or prepare any slides, so I'm going to wing it. But I just wanted you to know that the Sheriff's Office is not winging it when it comes to your safety. There's 4 things I want to talk about. 1, introduce myself, introduce my commanders, who I answer to, and who ultimately answer to you. 2 is talk about the recent crime trends I've talked about in my recent letters over the last 2 months, and some crime prevention techniques that go with those. 3, answer any questions, and then 4, of course, let the my commanders, Captain Bridges and Major Howard here, answer any questions you might have about the new sheriff in town, so to speak, or any other questions you have about the Sheriff's Office that I cannot answer. So, again, since I came back here at the beginning of December, the first thing I did was go out and talk with the patrol officers. I've contacted several of you on the board about what's going on in West Hill to kind of get my foot back in the ground, and some of the detectives. One of the biggest, one of our most advantageous workers for the West Hill area is Detective Debbie Schmitz. Most of you have never met her or don't know her, but she's been worked up here for 10 years. She's recently been reassigned to a new assignment of her choosing, but it will be a huge loss to our security concerns because she's done such a great job here. I just bring it to your attention because we will be bringing in a new detective, a new team to help address the problems up here. But right now, the problems that we've been working on diligently since last fall is, 1 priority is our mail theft. Mail theft has been a huge problem up here, both from mailboxes, porch thefts of boxes of UPS. We usually see a spike in mail thefts during the holidays just because that's the nature of the holiday season, and would-be criminals take advantage of that. However, this started long before. It started back in September, October. And it was the same fight, if you will, that I was working on before I had left, and it had declined significantly, and then Detective Schmitz told me it had been back on the rise. The Sheriff's Office has been working diligently with the Postal Inspector over the last few months. We've brought several cases to trial, and we still continue to pursue leads in unsolved mail thefts. Some of the great, I'll just go ahead and dovetail onto some crime prevention for mail theft. Some of the greatest things that have helped us is those Ring doorbells, specifically for packages, because I'm not advocating Ring by any means. I'm not endorsing Ring. I'm just using Ring as the first one that came to my head. But there's different surveillance and security monitors that you can buy out there. Ring I just have seen personally on the street, and I have it at my house too. But you can see it when a delivery is made. You can also see when somebody comes up there. We've captured, we've captured the images of crooks. We've actually captured the pictures of license plates and so forth, and this has helped us to solve some of those problems. The other thing, I talked to somebody earlier. They said they bought a security mailbox, and as you've noticed or driven around the West Hill area, I put up many flyers. I've tried to put up many flyers across West Hill area about changing your mailbox out for a security mailbox, and of course, reporting any suspicious activity. Those security mailboxes are not foolproof. They are a deterrent. But they do work. Now, I caveat that because there was a case where the neighbors went out and replaced their 5 mailboxes with 5 security mailboxes, and the thieves came with a chainsaw and cut off the wooden posts and took all 5. But I still advocate their use. I still think they are a worthy investment. I have one at my house. I have been a victim of mail theft myself. I had all my kids' Easter cards stolen one year with all the money from grandparents in it. But I haven't had that problem since I've gotten my security mailbox. So those are 2 big things. And of course, always report suspicious activity. The other big problem that we've had up here in Skyway, from my understanding, is we've had many burglaries. Not home invasion is the wrong term, although some people have been home when this has happened. But they're more burglaries. And again, some of the biggest deterrents for you are your monitored surveillance programs, such as ADT, Brinks, and this nature. And again, internal monitoring systems. Ring comes to mind because there was actually a call that I went on where the homeowner was calling the sheriff's office and saying, I see this person in my house, because they had several of them posted around their house. And this person in my house, they were able to describe directly where this person was, and we were able to apprehend them. Detective Schmitz and her successor, who I will hopefully introduce you next quarterly meeting, will continue to pursue those. But those have been some of the two biggest problems here in the West Hill area. Car thefts are a chronic problem, and what we call dumping a stolen, which means someone steals something in Seattle and they leave it here in West Hill. I've been working with, and there's several areas around West Hill that are conducive for that, because we see junk or inadvertently trash dumped. And we've been working specifically, Scott Duncan back here, raise your hand, our hero. He's been working a lot with Department of Health and other resources, code enforcement and other things, to help clean up some of these places that are conducive to a criminal to say, oh yeah, there's a pile of junk, I'm gonna leave this stolen car here because nobody will notice it, or I'm gonna leave this other thing here. So that's one of the things that Scott and I are continually trying to work on, is to clean up some of these places around West Hill that need the junk removed, or that people need to stop dumping. So that's one of our big things. So that's kind of it in a broad stroke brush shell of crime prevention and things going on in West Hill. What are your concerns before I introduce my commanders here? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Carol Walters-Barber, and I am Donald Walters, his daughter, Lynn Williams, in front of everybody, and niece, and you would hate it. Set this down at 2014. So my question is my love in education has been for law enforcement, and certain depth of my understanding, and I'd like to know as to why your concerns aren't the drugs and low lives of our over here at the market, when they're jumping, my boys being sodomized in the bushes, in the outhouses, and in the homes. Animals that's being done in this community. With the communists, things don't happen. And I happen to now be inheriting it all. I'd like to know why nobody remembers me and comes to my 911 call. Will lights come down?
Sure, ma'am, and I'm happy to answer this.
My children were sodomized in the outhouses, in the bushes all here, they live, but they couldn't call mom. They live under the stairs where my neighbors are all part of it. Sodomizing, I was like, all food units.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know why your concerns are about that. It was all, inheritance mine, mine now.
Okay, may I answer the question now, ma'am?
Yeah.
So, again,
No, well, I'm asking you if you're supposed to answer for them.
yes, I will, ma'am.
Like that.
So, our concern is everyone's public safety, and I'm very happy
That
to
is
see.
public safety.
Yes, I'm very happy to answer directly those specific concerns that you have. Again, for whatever crime, if you feel your crime's not being addressed properly, you can contact me in the West Hill storefront, or the best way to contact me is through online. I believe Devin may have my information still posted on the West Hill community page. You can access that through the library.
Online one for you, in the liquor store, nobody will make it, it's illegal in the United States of America, if somebody has said, call help for me, but it's, anyways, and nobody comes to my call. And, you know, the empire's all mine now.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. And for you specifically, I'm happy to address these concerns after this meeting. I will, so something up here, you and I can go outside and we can talk about these specific concerns of yours, and I'm happy to address those with you and make sure that you're taken care of and feel safe. Thank you very much, ma'am. Any other questions?
I do have a question on your availability at the storefront.
Yes, go ahead.
Because I was there a few times. I had to either knock on the door or ring a bell.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sheriff's car, but nobody answered because you might have been in the back office. I was there twice, and then I also used the phone number that is written on.
Yes.
You have to call, and nobody responded at the time.
Even using
So-
the phone number on there? So that phone number there is our non-emergency line. That's staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I can't answer to why that wasn't answered. As for my specific hours, I don't keep a set hours. Again, the best way to contact me is to set up an appointment using the email that's on the website, and I'm happy, I can come to your house or set up an appointment to come to the Westhill storefront if you feel more comfortable. I work what's called a flex schedule, so I work Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. And I work an 8-hour shift in between there. So tonight, or today, I'm working from 1 p.m. until, from 1 p.m. until 9 p.m. in order to accommodate this meeting. Next week, I'll be going to Devon's Block Watch meeting, thank you. So again, I'll be adjusting my hours to later in the afternoon. Typically, Typically, I work kind of 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. kind of, but that's again adjustable. I also have other ancillary duties that I do. Like tomorrow, I'll be at training all day, so I won't even be here. So the best way to get a hold of me is making an appointment and using that email address. But the number that you're referring to on the door should be staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you do have a problem with that, please email me directly because that is our non-emergency line. If that's not working for you, then that's big problems. Go ahead.
Good evening, Craig Buckton.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Oh, fine, thank you. Hey, over the years, and maybe in the last 6 months, I've noticed a lot more of RVs camping in the neighborhood
Mhm.
and campers.
Yep.
Especially on Rainier Avenue. As far as the law is concerned, how long can they be there? Is it overnight? Is it 3 nights? And the second part to that, if that vehicle has expired tabs, is that allowed to be on the roadway?
Okay, if I answer these. One, I can tell you that the RVs is one of that dumping problem that's inviting other criminal activity here. That's one of the focuses that Scott and I have for here working with code enforcement and health concerns. 2 is Rainier Avenue actually isn't part of our jurisdiction, most of it. 3 is if it is on the roadway and it has expired tabs, the King County Sheriff's Office can tow immediately based on our GOM guidelines and our tow procedures. So we don't even have to wait or mark it for 24 hours. But typically, if it's not have the expired tag or something like this, it's a parking violation, we will mark it and give them 24 hours to move the vehicle. First, after attempting to contact the registered owner of it. Because we don't want to inadvertently punish people for jacking up tow prices. And if we don't meet the criteria of the law in the manner in which it's specified, the Sheriff's Office can end up paying for it, i.e. taxpayers pay for it. We definitely don't want that to happen. So, yes,
On Rainier Avenue, if it's not King County, who is responsible?
Seattle.
Community?
Yeah. I'll have to look on the map, but there's a certain area. Scott, do you know off the top of your head where it stops and starts for King County on Rainier Avenue?
I think it's a 10500 blocks and around 1600.
But if you call in, if you call into that non-emergency line or call 911 and tell them immediately it's not an emergency line if you forget it, and report the violation, they have a geospatial queuing thing. They pull it up and they say, okay, that's King County. We'll dispatch a deputy, or that's Seattle, and they'll send it over to Seattle. So if you report it, you will get in contact with the right person, and it will be taken care of.
Yeah, I haven't. The county's responded. I was just curious.
Okay, if you guys responded, then it must be ours. And we can follow up on that. Or if you get with me after this, I can find out where we're at in that process. And I think I might actually, if it's 2 RVs parked on a lawn, I think on the road near the roadway, I think I know which we're talking about. Yeah, I don't remember the address, but I know that's, there's specifically, Scott and I have contacted code enforcement to reopen a case against that,
Thank you.
so.
You were next, I think.
All right, who's next? Oh, sorry. How you doing, ma'am?
Hi, how are you? I have a question, and my question is based on how the political climate does it affect our police? Because I have to share with you that there was an incident at Creston Point apartment where a man showed indecency to a young white girl, and the girl said that he was Somali, and the age was 26-year-old, around that age. And then there was another lady, Somalian, I think Somalian, and in fact, the story had also, yeah, he was Somalian, he was having a dog around, he was taking his dog out.
Sure.
Somali with dog out.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how that has been worked. But then there was another Somali, the police asked a Somalian young lady, and she said, did you see the man? And she said, yes, I saw the man. He was not Somali. He had Ghanaian accent. I don't know even Ghanaian accent, honestly.
Sure.
Let alone a young
Right.
Somali lady accent. The moral of the story is what goes into the books, what we have received from the schools. There is a young 26-year-old, the girl said he was Somali, this and this and this. But that was the story of the white girl.
Right.
The story of the white, of the Somali woman was not running parallel to that story. So
Sure.
it was, they were not, the two stories were not presented in such a way that,
Right.
they were told. So my question is, does the political climate affect our police? And
So-
you know what I mean.
Yes, I know exactly what you
Yeah,
mean, ma'am, or I
yeah.
believe I do, and I'll try to answer that. But this is a great question because I have my command staff who will also chime in on this answer. But I'll answer from my perspective as a patrol deputy. And one is no, or at least, obviously, all deputies are human beings. All human beings are, they carry the baggage of their training and experience in life, i.e., some people call that a bias, or it can be a bias. We work very hard to eliminate our biases. We go through bias-based training. We go through other things to eliminate that. And I think as a whole, I'm very proud to be part of the King County Sheriff's Office where we don't let the politics of the day interfere with our investigations or our ability to provide safety and security for everyone here. And that's what we strive to do. We may not always achieve that. We may fall short of that as human beings, but as a patrol deputy, I'm very proud with my fellow deputies and our goal in striving to achieve that. The second thing I would say is if I'm taking a report from somebody, I can't filter their biases. I'm trying to be objective, or any other deputy is trying to be objective. And if that person expresses a bias, here I will document it so that the courts and everyone else can see that bias and how that might affect their perception of the evidence. And I'll try to present both sides, as in the story that you illustrated, where the white girl said it was Somali and the Somali woman said it was a Ghani. And so we weren't there. So as investigators, we have to be objective and document both sides of the story, and then we let the judge and the lawyers figure it out. Because that's not our job. Our job is to be unbiased, to be objective, and to enforce the law.
But the story of the Somali woman did not go.
It did not go.
What I have read was
Right.
that, the story of the white girl.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking you, why not both stories? Because number one, it didn't make sense to me a Somalian man at Creston Point of all places,
Sure, yes.
walking up with a dog. That
Mhm.
doesn't make sense at all. We don't walk with dogs.
Right.
And on the other hand, the Somalian lady who said, oh, no, he was not Somali, he was Ghanaian because he has Ghanaian accent. I don't know where she knows how Ghanaian accent sounds. and I don't think that needs to be analyzed anyway.
Sure.
I don't have to even, determine, her point. But my question is, why both cases were not presented?
So
The story,
yeah.
one story was told, but the other was not. So at the end of the day, my intention is that such situations endanger our already vulnerable voice.
Yes.
So please be careful.
I will, and not to deflect any culpability on our part, but I honestly don't know why both cases weren't presented as you stated them. I'd have to read the case report myself, and maybe the deputies found something evidentiary that wasn't evidentiary. But again, I heed what you're saying, and I will take that back to my fellow deputies. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
we have Captain Bridges and Major Howard here. Major Howard is the precinct commander for all of Precinct 4, which includes pretty much for the sheriff's office, everything west of the valley, including Burien, Skyway, West Hill, White Center, all the way out to the water and so forth. It's one of the most heavily populated precincts in the sheriff's office, and usually we always put our best commanders in charge of the precinct 4. Major Howard has had a very diverse career within the sheriff's office, almost 3 decades of law enforcement, working everywhere from ARF to being operations captains. And Captain Bridges, I've just met tonight. I don't know very well, but I know he's has over 25 years in the Army as a police officer and has served with the sheriff's office for more than 2 decades. So I'll let them answer that question, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing us some time tonight to visit with you, and thank you for giving us the honor of serving your community and being your police department, and entrusting us to take care of you and your neighbors and your family and your loved ones. Ma'am, you asked a good question, and your question was, has the political climate affected how we deliver police services? And I would like to say yes, it has. More than ever before, we see how people can be affected by political rhetoric and unkind words. And I'm here to assure you, as your precinct commander, that we will do our best to serve everyone equally, and especially the most vulnerable, our elderly and our children. It does not matter where you come from. It does not matter where you live. It does not matter how much money you make. It does not matter what ethnicity you are, what gender you are. We are here to serve everybody and to serve everybody equally. And Captain Bridges and I, that is our main job, is to help our youngest officers learn how to interact with people, how to interact with different cultures, and how to help people feel comfortable with them being around as an armed police officer. I understand for certain people that that's an uncomfortable thing. And we have to help our young officers understand how to interact with people and how to do it on a meaningful level. So I'm sorry about the experience that you had. I'm sorry about the political atmosphere that gives people discomfort. And I'm just here to tell you that we're committed to serving all of you and to serving you with fairness and equality. So that said, I've worked for the Sheriff's Office for 27 years. I started my career here in Precinct 4 and patrolling Skyway as a very young deputy in 1991. I lived in Skyway for a number of years. I used to ride my bicycle to Skyway Bowl and play video games. And my first job was at the Renton Safeway just down the hill. So I have a connection to this community. I care a lot about you. And I'm going to make sure that we're doing our best to reduce crime and make you feel safe, both where you live and where you work. And if you ever want to talk to me about anything, or Captain Bridges, you're certainly welcome to pick up the phone or email and get a hold of us. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Are you with Missy too?
Yeah, so she's the sheriff, and so she promoted me to take her job here at this precinct. So, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. I know people have a lot of questions and they're very important, but there is other aspects of the meeting that we have here. We have guests that would like to speak. So please, if you have what you feel is a problem, call 911 or stop in at the center.
His mic broke, but just call me. I'm happy to talk to you about any concerns you might have. Captain Bridges, do you have a couple words?
Just thank you all for having me here tonight, having us here tonight. I'm Rick Bridges. I'm obviously a captain in the King County Sheriff's Office. My history, I've been with the King County Sheriff's Office about a little over 18 years. I've worked in Skyway before. I haven't lived up here. I live way south here, Lacey. So, beautiful place. Until the train wrecks. Yeah, so, in any case, I just want to reiterate what Major Howard said, is the King County Sheriff's Office overall has a very good reputation when it comes to things like transparency and fairness and policing. And how I know this is that you don't see us in the newspaper a whole lot reading about bad things that we do. That's because we hire people, we strive to hire people to do the right thing for all of you. And I happen to live by that. We're transparent, we're accountable. Accountability is a real big thing to me. We're accountable to you. You pay the freight. That's the way that goes. So, thank you for having me here tonight, and I look forward to working with the community. And let me back off because you got things to do.
Hey, and just one reminder, again, my contact information is on the website that Devin has up, so please feel free to make an appointment and contact me. Thank you.
MyWesthill.org.
Okay, we'd like to move right on. Our next guest is Harold Taniguchi from the King County Department of Transportation.
Yay! So the title of my remarks tonight are how to make fried chicken with hot oil and water. Just kidding. And let me tell you a little bit about my roots. Everybody up here talked about their roots in this area. In the 70s, I used to date a young lady that lived in the neighborhood. My mom lives about 4 or 5 blocks away from here. And then I was telling Chief Eric the other day, or telling him that months ago when there was that goat rescue, I was out on the street helping the firefighters do their thing. Oh. So I have a little bit of a connection with the neighborhood. I'm here because Senior Deputy County Executive Fred Jarrett could not be here. He would have loved to have been here, but he's not feeling very well, and he hasn't been in the office in a few days. And he was here to kind of walk through an initiative that the executive has embarked on. And we, in fact, thought there might be more of a public announcement by the executive, but it's probably happening later this week. So if what I tell you, I'm in trouble if what I tell you is inconsistent with that, but I'm also impounding some information because I can't get in front of the executive a bit too much. But let me tell you what the whole idea was. Months ago in the fall, the executive was interested in finding and exploring ways of providing new and better services to unincorporated areas of King County. So you all know all too well, there are pockets in the urban area of unincorporated King County that have not been annexed by the city. That was the policy driven by the State Growth Management Act that has not come to fruition. And so there's pockets throughout unincorporated urban King County, and then the rural parts of the King County will forever remain unincorporated. So the idea was, gee, this is the way we're set up right now. Is this the best mousetrap to deliver services? And the outcome of that effort that Fred delivered to the executive just before Christmas is, no, I think there's better ways of dealing with that. So I can't go into a whole lot of detail, but the essence of it is, let's try and remove, we go to these meetings a lot, and then sometimes a question is asked by the resident, and the answer from county officials like us that are here is, it's either, oh, I can help you because that's something that I'm directly involved with, or that's not my department. And it starts to feel a little frustrating if you hear too much of that. And if you're, cities have more of an identity, they have, excuse me, more of a one-stop shop approach. You tend to maybe find it a little easier to find out where to go in a city than maybe in the county as it exists today. So there are things that we can do that can try and set up county government a little differently that would allow for more transparency, more openness, more accountability, make life a lot easier for the residents as they have their issues resolved or discussions about policy, whatever. So what we will unveil in the next few days probably is just some thoughts associated with how to make that work. So the arrogance about what we tend to do when we come out to meetings, and I'm responsible for some of that sometimes, is we think we know everything. We're here to tell you what you need to know, or we have a better idea of what you think you need. And we're trying to pull back, and we have opinions, but we're not trying to do that. And I think with the way that we're moving with this effort, with this initiative, hopefully you'll feel a lot of that. There's a lot more listening, real listening going on. There's a lot more appreciation for understanding of what you really are experiencing. And then so that we can take that back and come up with ideas and work with you on some solutions rather than pretend that we really know what's going on. And it's easy for me to say, I will be asked to help put this part together for the rest of this year. But it's really easy for me to say, I come out here and listen, because I don't know anything. I mean, I've been involved with the county since 1983. I've been part of the Road Services Division, either directly or indirectly, since 1993. And we certainly have some issues that we've worked with the community about. But this involves A through Z, what is on your mind as it relates to what King County can do. And there are certainly large pockets of that I don't know anything about. So folks like me, if we're doing it the right way, we'll come out and truly listen to what your issues are and see how we can really resolve them and work with you and figure that out and remove some of that's not my department, that's not my department, and make it a bit more efficient. And when we do have this thing announced more publicly, I'm more than happy to come back out here and talk in more details going on. But the details that you're missing in this part of the conversation is really the kind of the wonky stuff of what goes on behind the curtain, how the government is set up and everything like that. The real gist of it is that we're trying to set it up differently so that you feel that you're being better served. We don't have additional resources or revenues necessarily to do any of this. We're just trying to think a little bit more smartly about how we can work together. We're a large bureaucracy in the county, and we have a problem, even though we're good people and we try very hard, we still bump heads because we're still silo-oriented. We still have the things that we're most comfortable talking about coming from a department, and then when it relates to coordination with other departments, sometimes we don't gel very well. This is an effort to try and address that kind of concern head on so that we remove those silos and make it a little bit more smoother and easy to appreciate what we're trying to do. Let me just pause right there and see if there are any questions that anybody might have. Did anything I say make any sense even remotely? Okay, back there.
Actually, my curiosity tends towards this asking, does that mean that we will have an opportunity to meet more county officials or county workers in our community where we can actually show them the issues happening?
The county is embarking on what's called a lean approach to management continuous improvement. It started out in the Toyota manufacturing, and a tenet of that, and to try and totally improve what you're doing, has to do with they use manufacturing as an example, but going to the shop floor. So yes, in theory, and if I have anything to do it, it will certainly happen. We need to get out of our offices. I'm not saying that staff aren't already out there. There are a ton of staff that are spending good hours out in the community. But that will be an important part so that you can really see and feel what the experience is to better appreciate what's really going on. Yes, that will be a part of it. Yes, ma'am.
So it sounds like the plan is to have this remain unincorporated King County for the foreseeable future. And I'm inferring that from what you said, as opposed to putting it to a vote again to incorporate with Renton.
Well,
and then the other question, because I think that now, I think I'm seeing that King County is perhaps saying there's some potential for revenue from this community because it's so close to Seattle, and so now it's looking more appealing to King County, because before, and since you're with transportation, before we were hearing that there wasn't going to be anything new coming along, no new revenue, which you also said, but we also heard that some of the roads up here were going to just be allowed to deteriorate to the point of taking up the asphalt and reverting them to gravel. So I attended the quarterly meeting, the last quarterly meeting, this meeting, and it sounds like King County's position is, on this community has changed.
Well, you had like 17 issues that you
Yeah,
brought
but
out.
you're an executive kind
Okay,
of person.
so here, let me talk about my fried chicken. No. So here's the wonderful chicken or the egg thing associated with that. And I'm sort of overstating it, oversimplifying to make my point. In general, there may be a select few reasons why cities don't incorporate these areas. And a lot of time has to do with the condition of the, the infrastructure, the revenues coming out of the location, whatever, right? So for a long time, the county has respected the Growth Management Act and assumed that the cities would step forward at some point and annex. The cities would say, some of them would say more aggressively than others, King County, you need to do X, Y, and Z before that's even remotely something that we would consider, which is a lot of resources, a lot of times the county absolutely didn't have. So the tweener thing that the county's doing is saying, okay, if the cities are not going to annex it, there are unincorporated urban and unincorporated rural. There are about almost 250,000 residents in unincorporated King County. If you made that into the city, that would be the second largest city in the state. So the executive is saying, I think we need to do something differently. I think we need to figure out ways to provide services to those folks, because in some areas, maybe they're going to be ripe for annexation. In some areas, maybe it's going to take a long period of time. And here's the wonderful chicken or the egg irony. If a community all of a sudden has maybe a local economic base that is more vibrant than it has before, if all of a sudden the revenues are coming in and all of a sudden you see infrastructure improvements, that also means that the neighboring city might find it even more interesting to annex. So it sort of feels, and I sort of say this in a joking way, but it's sort of, there's a little bit of truth. It's like you are a minor league baseball team or a junior hockey league team. You work with what you have. And if all of a sudden one of your players or one of the communities all of a sudden starts to take off in ways you didn't imagine, they go to the big leagues, they get pulled up, or in this case, a city may turn around and immediately annex it. So we don't know. But in any event, what's changed is the executive is saying, let's find a different way of delivering services. So there's got to be a better mousetrap than what we're dealing with right now. And so that's what the information he has in front of him right now. He's looking at.
Is that 250,000 urban?
No, total.
Unincorporated
Total.
or total?
Yeah, total.
Unincorporated.
And I can't remember the breakdown. About half Hazzies.
And actually, it went up for a vote, and Renton actually did do a lot to give information, as opposed to King County, which did very, very little, and actually had employees out campaigning against the annexation. I want that for the public
Really?
record.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I don't think
So-
that's certainly not the policy of the county. So
No, I know, but
yeah.
that was the reality,
Yeah.
and so I think that King County maybe is seeing dollar signs since we're talking politicians, So,
Well, the reason
because
why
of the
I'm wincing
proximity.
at that is because if it were that easy, then we don't have a problem. If all of a sudden this would be a lucrative area and everything like this, then this initiative wouldn't be necessary if it's going to happen. But I think what we're trying to say is that hasn't happened in the past for whatever reason. The world is changing. I get that. But let's see if in terms of county services that we deliver, let's see if we can do it differently, and maybe the world, maybe the residents are better served, which would be the goal. And maybe other things would happen, which maybe results in an annexation, which would be another policy goal, whatever. The other thing I want to mention is that we also want to take, Larry said, we want to take the pressure off and work very well with the electeds. We have electeds that are taking on a whole host of responsibilities for these areas throughout the county, in rural parts and the urban parts and everything like that. So the initiative will work very closely with the council members that are responsible for those areas in working and trying to deal openly with the challenges and share good information so everybody, can feel very good that we're trying to do the right thing and be very, very transparent and positive about it. Nobody's trying to outdo anybody else. It's going to be working together. And the council has to adopt this approach ultimately. So there's more to be done in that.
Any idea of the schedule of that
Well,
discussion and adoption?
Yeah, if it works, if there is concurrence and agreement, then the theory would be that at least it would be a new department, let's say. The new department would be created in the 2019-2020 budget, but then we'll have to have positive signals from the council along the way to make that happen.
Right, what I'm asking is, if people here are interested in advocating one way or the other with the council, is there a schedule for their discussion and?
Yeah, well, we're not quite that far along, but in theory, if it's going to be in the budget for 2019 and 2020, throughout the summer probably is when, if you wait too late, there's all this other budget stuff that's kind of a mess, but the reorganization discussion will probably happen in the second or third quarter of the year.
Talking this year?
Yeah, this year, yes, 2018. Yes, and somebody here had their hand up? Yes.
Didn't the West Hill voted on annexing here a few years ago and voted it down, so. It isn't the cities that are rejecting, it's the people in the area that did.
Very few people voted though on that. It was on the back of the ballot, so a lot of people forgot to vote on it. And there wasn't much of a vote really compared to the amount of people here. So some people, like myself, would love to have another chance to vote.
Well, the community outreach happened in 2004, but the election didn't happen until 2012. And there's no way that anyone has the resources, county or private, to sustain a campaign for 8 years.
So my responsibility is to move forward with this idea and see what happens with it for 2018. And I gotta tell you, the whole spirit of, I have no crystal ball. There are gonna be communities that hate this option, love this one, and vice versa. But the whole spirit is, let's just, find a more effective way of delivering services, and then whatever happens, happens. We're not trying to be totally stupid about it, but we don't have control. So we are going to have communities that would prefer to be part of the city, King County, get out of our way, and others would say, no, we don't want to be part of that city, King County, you're stuck with us. And it doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to provide whatever resources, put them together, make recommendations, do what I can with staff, and then just move on. The key is, if there is any love that King County can give to you, this has got to be an opportunity to put that forward. You have some of it, not that it's not there, but we're just trying to aggregate it and putting forward so you can really feel that it matters, and we're just doing the best we can to put that out there.
Well, we certainly hope that King County will start spending more of our money here.
Yeah, the whole funding thing is a wonderful challenge.
You heard it here first.
Well, but the reality is, if I understand factoids roughly correctly, the reality is if these jurisdictions were very, very lucrative, the cities would have snapped them up in a heartbeat, right? Right? So
I can tell you that your road services division has millions of dollars worth of revenue annually from Skyway, from our property tax.
Well, okay.
And I know that there's challenges, but we'd like more of our money to be spent here.
Okay, so let me get at that point here. That's a very good point. I wasn't going to go on this detail, but you forced me. Okay. Part of this effort is to daylight the outcomes that are targeted by location. So that's let me find another way of saying it. Before, when you had an unincorporated area budget, you didn't know whether it was happening in your neighborhood, your other communities, or in rural King County, because it was all lumped together. This effort is intending to be more geographically tied, which is a double-edged sword in some ways. As an operating agency, removing that flexibility is a little bit of a challenge. But I think to gain the credibility, to gain the transparency, to have a different type of conversation about accountability, we need to start pinpointing the outcomes into specific areas and then holding us accountable.
So in other words, you're gonna tell us what you're not gonna spend.
Well, that's a negative way of looking at it.
Well, that's what you said.
Yeah, but I would look at it positively. We can't, you know, nobody's saying that this has more resources. But wouldn't you rather know that we are saying there are these 3 to 5 or X number of improvements that are specifically targeted in your community, and we're planning to do that now, rather than a more general, well, roughly we have this amount of money and we're going to do it in these areas and not have that tie to this specific area. That's the point I'm trying to make. There's no new money going on right now. Maybe there will be in the future, but I can't be issued there's not that. But the pinpointing of accountability is something.
It's a $10 million utility tax.
That's a, you know, well, we don't have that, but yes.
This may be too granular to detail.
No.
How would you make that information available to residents if they wanted to find it?
Well, there's probably a variety of ways. Maybe for those who have internet access, we post it some way visibly. Community meetings like this, we share it, and we keep track of it. I mean, those are the details we'll have to work out. But it's a bureaucrat's kind of wonderful challenge. I mean, to be held accountable in the way that I think we're trying to set this up is not an easy thing. It's a little bit different, but we think that's an important step to take. So we're going to try.
Are there, I have a question.
Yes.
Are there anything, any points of, you are the Department of Transportation, so I understand you're reorganizing your service to the public, but what are we talking about for this area? Are we talking about roads, pavements, traffic lights, bus stops, maybe an
That's
extra
the part I
stop
can't
on
get in
the
front of the executive
metro?
on. I think something will come out, you know, in a news release.
It's a good story, but it's so vague.
I know. I apologize.
What are we talking about? Are we about buses or streets or?
Okay, let me try a different way. There are a handful of agencies that provide local services, meaning it's not a regional service. So
Yeah.
a local park, roads is local services, surface water management is local services, permitting is local. So if you can imagine the activities that a city typically does, if we look at throughout the county, those activities and pull them together, we'll call that local. That's where the focus is going to be. And then the reorganization which is a detail I can't share, but it's not intended, nobody's interested in just, you know, pulling all kind of agencies together willy-nilly or anything like that. But we're trying to make it so that, you know, there's a way of feeling like it's all working together a bit differently than it has in the past. So that's a detail that we'll wait and have it unfold. And then even after it's unfolded, we'll have to work on how it's going to work. I mean, none of this is, you know, in stone, and we're just, you know, kind of trial and error, a lot of trial and error. But you guys will see our wonderful successes and our mistakes very easily. So I'm not that I'm looking forward to that, but I'm looking forward to that. All right. Any other questions? Yes, back there.
I don't know if you're the right person to ask, but it's sort of transportation related. Along Ringer Avenue, there's a retaining wall that's about 15 feet drop and it's about, the top of it is about 3 or 4 feet from the sidewalk. And I've called several times telling people, hey, you need to put a guardrail along here. Oftentimes during the fireworks at Coulomb Park, people are sitting on that wall. And from my knowledge of the codes and so forth, that's not legal. And I've talked to the county a few times about it, and over the years, nothing has happened.
Have we given you our response, or we're just not following up with you at all?
Well, they said, well, next year. We'll put it in the budget next year. but it's a wall that's about 300 feet long, and at the highest point off of the pavement below is about 15, maybe a little bit more feet. But the only thing that protects it is just one of these highway metal barriers, but it's only this tall. And we're talking about it being near the sidewalk. It should be at least 32 inches.
After the meeting, I'll go up and get a little bit more detail about that location.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it since we're paying 50% more property taxes by rate than in many other areas, such as Seattle.
Okay. What a nice question. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Harold. Okay, Meg Moorhead from the King County Solid Waste Service. We'd like to, sorry to make you wait so long, but she has some information about the upcoming solid waste plan that is coming up, and they're working on a 20-year plan, but I don't want to take her thunder.
Thanks for the introduction. I'm Meg Moorhead, Strategy and Communications Manager for King County Solid Waste. And while she's setting up the presentation, we are not the people who pick up your garbage at your curbside. So I can't answer any of those questions. Those are private companies who are regulated by the state, and the state regulates the kind of service that they're providing. So I can't answer those questions. We're the people who operate the transfer facilities where those trucks bring your curbside garbage to be consolidated before it is trucked up to our county landfill outside of Maple Valley. So we provide 10 transfer facilities, including the ones close to here, which are the Renton facility, the Factoria facility, the Bow Lake facility down in Tukwila. We also operate the regional landfill and provide a lot of recycling programs to help people divert waste and recycle more. So that's who we are. And we're doing the first comprehensive solid waste plan update since 2001. And will you be? Sure. Okay, great. So why don't you poke it? And what's the comprehensive solid waste plan? Well, it's a plan that's required by state law and also required under the interlocal agreements we have with our 37 partner cities. Our facilities are provided for unincorporated, for trash coming from unincorporated areas, but also from our 37 partner cities. That's all but the cities of Milton and Seattle. The plan is developed collaboratively with our partner cities and our advisory committees, and it really lays out for the next 6 to 20 years how we're going to prevent, recycle, and dispose waste in ways that protect public health and the environment. So let's go on to the next. So our regional system, somebody during the open house area asked me where the transfer stations are, and this is probably a little bit too small for you to see, but we have handouts over at the table by Dorian over there in the corner with website information where you can go and find out a lot more specifics. You can see this map that I'm showing here much more clearly on our website. Wow, okay. So we've got the 37 cities shown there, our 10 transfer facilities. We have 9 closed landfills that we monitor and maintain, and then 1 active landfill. And the cities in our system have the responsibility for providing curbside collection, either doing it themselves or contracting with private haulers to do it. And the private haulers that I'm not sure exactly who serves your area, but the ones operating in the county as a whole tend to be Waste Management, Republic, and Recology. So who provides the service? Waste Management.
Wait
That's
a
what I
minute,
thought.
although Republic has their own transfer, station here,
That's-
just inside Renton, I think.
Yeah, our regional system relies on a combination of public and private facilities. We have transfer stations, but the private companies operate the facilities where they process recyclables before they're shipped off for to be reused in different manufacturing. So we rely on a combination of public and private. So, the next slide, please. The plan has 6 major planning elements. Basically, it describes our existing system, how we forecast and track progress. What do we propose in terms of recycling, transfer and processing, disposal, and how we finance the system. And we finance the system, I don't know, how many of you have been to one of our county transfer facilities? Okay, so you're good users of our facilities. The fees that you pay there are based on a price per ton, or what we call a tipping fee. And that tipping fee pays for over 90% of the cost of the system. Some of the goals that we have, in addition to just laying out the future for our system, we're trying to build in a couple of county initiatives into this plan that weren't there in 2001. One is making sure that we are providing equitable service across our entire area and addressing issues of social justice so that disadvantaged communities receive as good a service as others. We're also trying to build in climate protection so that we're seeking to reduce emissions, produce renewable energy, and take other steps to improve our environment. Next slide, please. So, what are there are 3 main choices that are going to be, that are in the plan, and if you read this nifty handout and go to our website, you'll see that there are all sorts of ways that you can learn about these policy choices and also weigh in. We've got links to the plan and the draft environmental impact statement. Those are both out for 60 days review, so you get to read those. We also have little video clips. So if you're one of those people who hates to read and you just want to see a quick video clip, you can do that. You can go in and take a survey. You can find where you can send us an email comment, and so there are all sorts of ways that you can learn about the plan. One of the big policy choices is how do we get to a goal of 70% recycling? Today, next one please. Today we're only at 52% recycling, and our goal is 70%. And we have a big range over the region about how much recycling. We've got some cities that are down at 30% recycling. We've got other cities up over 60%. We're trying to pull everybody together to a 70% rate. The reason why we think 70% can be achieved is we look at the trash that's being landfilled today, and about 70% of it has some sort of economic value, either readily achieved economic value, or could be if the market's developed a little bit more. So that could be resources that are being put back into our economy instead of landfill. So that's our goal. Let's go on to the next. And some of the choices presented in the plan are, what kind of approach do we get to 60%? Do we try to prevent waste from getting into our waste stream altogether by eliminating things like packaging or other things that may not be needed necessarily? Do we, if we do get materials into our system, do we put it to recycling? If we get organic materials like your yard waste or food scraps, how can we increase composting so that we have a product that's reusable in your yard? And action options to implement these different approaches range anywhere from education to incentives to mandates, like telling you that you can't put your yard waste in your garbage bin, for example. Many of our cities and other parts of the system have that sort of mandate. Let's go on to the next. Okay, the next set of questions that we're seeking input on here during the 60-day period. Let's go to the next. Here's some of the use of our transfer system from 2016. You can see that Bow Lake, the facility near, on I-5 near Tukwila. You can see a big facility off to the east. That is our Bow Lake Station. It takes about 1/3 of the garbage from the system as a whole. Northeast area, that's up in Kirkland. We have a station there called Houghton. That's our fastest growing area. So you can kind of see, let's see, you're kind of down in the Renton area, our Renton station. You can see all of the different tons that are being taken there. And the amount of material in our system is growing. And so we've been modernizing our system so that we have more space for people to move around, more space to provide recycling options at the stations, more space to put compactor equipment where instead of just dumping the trash into a truck and just taking it off to the landfill, you can actually tamp it down, compact it, so that you reduce the truck trips out of that station by about 1/3. And so part of the modernization is to reduce the traffic out of the stations by doing that compaction. And so the questions that, one of the big questions in this plan is, do we complete this modernization process, or do we have different levels of service or different types of options available in different parts of the regional system? The only part of the system right now where modernization hasn't been started is in the Northeast. And so there's a big question about whether we should just keep the Houghton station, which is from the 1960s, doesn't have the compaction or the recycling options, or should we modernize it as we've done in the rest of the system? Okay. And some of the things that we try to address in deciding how to modernize and where to place facilities is, how far do you have to drive to your local transfer station? How long do you have to wait in line before you can put your materials away and get rid of it? Are recycling facilities available and other things? And then here are the different service areas with the big question mark in the Northeast, where we're asking the public, do you have opinions about what kind of service we should be providing up there? But also asking you for what kind of services you value at your local stations, even down in the South County. Disposal? Okay, so we've been relying on our landfill for 50 years, and it's been very cost effective. And we have modern environmental systems to control the effects of that, including collecting landfill gas and turning it into renewable energy. But we're going to run out of the capacity that we've built there if we do nothing else by 2028. So we've got some choices about what we do from here. We could build new capacity right there and keep on operating at that facility until we eventually run out of space, and that could be after 2040. So that's one option. Keep disposing locally as we have for the last 50 years. Another option is to put it on rail cars and put it off on rail to landfills in other parts of the state, eastern Washington, eastern Oregon. That's what Snohomish County and City of Seattle do. Third option is to build a waste-to-energy facility. It's called a mass burn facility, where we would build it here in King County, and we would send the garbage to burn in that facility, and then put the ash and the residual waste on rails and export. That produces electricity and increases our recycling a little, but it's also very expensive to build that kind of facility, and sometimes hard to site. So those are choices that we're looking for feedback as part of this 60-day review period. Go ahead. Oh, some of the costs. That's just some of the costs with, it's hard to read from here, but basically the red line is what we project the cost per ton for continuing to operate the landfill would be. The middle line, the green line, for exporting the waste by rail, and then the top line if we were to build a mass burn facility. Next. our 9 closed landfills. These are some of the ones that we closed ourselves, others we inherited from other jurisdictions. We continue to monitor and maintain them. And instead of just having them sit there as open land, we do our best to use them for community benefit, like ball fields and model airplane fields and other sorts of purposes.
That one at the south end of Lake Washington looks like it's in a familiar location. Can you comment? Maybe those black dots are indicative of what.
Yeah, it's okay. I have to. This is really hard to read. Some of the dots on the map are highway signs, and
I'm talking about the big black dot. That's all I can tell.
yeah, that's a highway sign, I'm afraid.
Okay.
You'll need to go on the website to really get good resolution on this. Okay, so let's next step. These are just some of the other chapters that you can read about and give us feedback on. Next, what are we doing? This process is prescribed by the state. It has very specific and very long approval steps. We're about midway through a 3-year-long approval process. 60 days review. The Department of Ecology is our regulator, and they get 120 days. They get 60 more days than the public. And then it goes through a process where the county council reviews and approves it, and then it goes to our partner cities, and they get 120 days to review and approve it. And then it goes to ecology for the final check the box. 2019 is the soonest we expect it to be approved. But this is farther than we've made it in a number of years, and we hope, through the next slide. Yeah, great, you've got it. We hope to use this opportunity in the 60 days to get your input, and there are all sorts, again, I encourage you to get the handout, go to our website, all sorts of ways that you can learn about and engage, and including open houses, next, you got it, that we're conducting North, East, South County. Maybe the closest one for you folks would be Kent. Where you can come, we'll have open house, very informal. You can just walk around, see the displays, talk to people, fill out comments there, or bring back what you learned and fill out the comments online. We encourage you to pass word to your neighbors, come yourself, and learn more about the plan. I'm happy to take questions.
Can you explain what a closed landfill is? You had a few examples, but is that, so a ball field, is there an old landfill underneath
Yeah.
it? So you cover it up later?
Yeah, there are a lot of landfills that, decades and decades ago were open for garbage, and then they got covered, and then we monitor them in terms of air emissions or leachate or stormwater that's coming out of the facilities. We monitor them to maintain them within regulatory limits, because it takes a lot of years before a landfill gets to the point where it's not emitting air or water. And so we need to keep track of that. But during that time where we're just tracking it and all of those emissions are slowly declining, there are many uses that we can put it to for the community where there's not.
So you'll cover it up later. I wasn't
It's covered up
taking it,
now. Yeah.
Literal. I thought they were closed already, and you drove in to drop your stuff off, and I couldn't picture that.
They were closed many years ago to garbage disposal.
I see.
So if you were to see them today, they would look like a field, a
Midway's
nice.
one you can see from I-5.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
On the west side of I-5.
A nice forested field,
Yes.
or a nice forested area, or a field, and so you wouldn't necessarily know that there was a landfill there, but you might see a well or two where we're monitoring the air quality coming out of it. And for a lot of those, they can be used for trails by the community. We've got a baseball field outside of our Kirkline facility. So where we can, we try to use that land for the benefit of the community. There and there.
Yes, I think this is fabulous. This is actually what I was thinking about. This stuff with all the, this is really neat. I got me every night on my way out. I was waiting for my family to come get me. But is what's really neat is I have to confess, worst recycler ever. But I'm a pro because I was raised on a scrap metal farm and I mean yard and stuff, scrap disposal. My uncle invented the machine in Santa Fe, scratches for cars, Jerry Williams. Win Williams' father, and it's all my inheritance, the entire thing worldwide, they built recycling. And I'm gonna let y'all know, I've already told me the answer, and it's gonna be happening because the money already really does something. Is, we're not gonna be soiling his lands anymore. We're going, it's my money and I'm gonna put it to burn it. So they got your answer for that already, it's gonna be out around the world. And it's just really sad that it started soiling the ocean, you know? And then it's really neat is, why isn't recycling flows happening? And then the place for dumping, for people in poverty, it's very difficult because it costs money.
And so thank you for recycling. I really appreciate that.
No, I said I'm the worst recycler ever.
I know, but you say that you did.
And I own them all. It's very activity. It's awesome. It's fabulous. And awesome. I'm going to end up burning it to put on.
And one option, this isn't required under the plan, but one option that the plan does lay out for the county is to adopt a low income rate so that folks least able to pay will have a discount or could have a discount in the future to make it easier.
It's really hard. That's one of the reasons why they don't.
I had a question regarding, towards the end of last year, some stories came out about at least a third of American recyclables being shipped overseas to China, and China putting a ban on foreign waste exports. I just want to know about how much of our recyclables are diverted away from landfills and actually used for reuse in products and whatnot. Because you mentioned that we're trying to get towards 70% recycling, and it's like, well, if places like Portland are having trouble getting rid of their recycling, or using their recycling, does that mean that we are using all of our recycling for reusable products, and increasing it won't lead to that being diverted to landfills?
52% is taken by folks who are responsible for processing it so that it can be reused or remade into something else. China has adopted new standards for how clean the recyclables have to be before they will take it and manufacture it into something else. And that's the temporary issue right now. They actually did this a few years ago, and they just made it even more strict in the last year. And the effects of that have varied a lot by state. Oregon has many fewer options and has been starting to landfill some of those recyclables. Our local processors are not doing that. They have found other markets. There's India, there's Canada. Although many of them are thinking that China will change its policy within the next year or so, because there's a big economic driver. They've got a lot of manufacturing capacity that's been built around taking our recyclables and turning it into products that they then sell back to us. And so it's definitely important to keep your recyclables clean. Don't dump a bunch of contamination in with your recyclables. Wash them out, keep them clean. That's the best way that we could hope to meet that China policy.
Are there recycling opportunities? It's been a couple of years since I've been up to the Renton, is that a transfer station? I just call it the bin, but anyway, but I was really shocked at what people were throwing away there, things that could have easily been donated.
Absolutely.
So are there opportunities up there now, like a separate truck where you can donate things instead of throwing it in the heap?
Renton is one of our older stations that hasn't been modernized, doesn't have the recycling facilities that we have at our more modern facilities. And so the options there are very limited. And you know, what we, have any of you been to Factoria? That's our newest facility. It's got all sorts of different options. You can have bins where you come into the station and you can separate out your cardboard, your scrap metal, and all of that. It's got a separate hazardous waste building where you can bring in things that you can't just, you know, put in with the regular garbage. And they've got people, with our staff with machines, that when they see a bunch of wood that could be recycled, that's been dumped with the garbage, they can pull the machine out and kind of separate that clean wood out and put it over to the side for recycling. But that all takes space, you know, space for people to have bins that they can do the separation themselves, space for a hazardous waste building, and that's just not available at our older facilities.
Is it at all thinkable to do that at big parking lots like a supermarket that has a lot of room, to put a bunch of big bins there so people can already bring their bottles and their cans and their stuff to, when they come to the store, they can dump their paper. I'm from Europe, and that's a thing that's been done forever, that you already sort it to begin with. We do that here too in the bins on the street, but they're smaller.
Right.
And for the bigger bulk, could it be done on terrains where supermarkets are, not only for clothes and shoes, which I see, but for plastic and paper and colored glass?
And that hasn't been the model here. We do waste mobiles, where we've got a waste mobile that will travel around to different parking lots.
Yes. Oh.
But it's not there all the time where people, our model of collection is that you drive your stuff. Either your curbside collection company picks it up at the curbside and they bring it to us at our transfer stations, or you drive it to us, and that the 10 transfer facilities are the place where you kind of consolidate.
Yes, okay.
Great, well, thank you, and please take a flyer and go to our website and give us feedback. The comment period ends March 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Okay, let's move on to the community reports. VFW, Chuck, would you like to let us know what's going on?
Yep. Good evening. Now, I just received a flash on my phone. AIDS warning to all those approaching 50 or have reached 50 and past. This is especially for you. Senior citizens are the national leaders in AIDS carrying. That's hearing aids, Band-Aids, medical aid, and most of all, HIV. Hair is vanishing. We needed a laugh right now.
That was good.
Anyway, okay. VFW, we've got one fundraiser coming up. It's on the 27th of this month. It's $10 at the door, or $15 at the door, or $10 in advance. You can purchase tickets upstairs at the canteen. This is for Heroes Holiday fundraiser. What we do with this, 100% goes to this program. All the food is donated. What we do with the funds is take active duty personnel, their families, single, whatever they are, to hockey games, baseball games, football games, just to get them away from the military for just one evening. A couple of years ago, we raised enough money to have for a whole family of 6 to spend an entire weekend at Wolf Lodge. And a lot of them that we take care of with this program are also wounded warriors. They need that time. So if you wish to, there's more flyers over there. Please come and help us raise funds so we can take care of our active duty. Thank you. That way. Then, on February 18th, is our 34th annual champagne breakfast. That's $15 to come in. How do I put it simply? You get the breakfast, there's a silent auction, a live auction, there's baskets to bid on from 9 o'clock until about noon. It's a free flow of champagne. The bar is open, but then there's the auction, and we'll have all kinds of stuff here for the auction that's donated. And this is our main fundraiser for the post itself, so we can pay the bills and keep things running the way we want it to. There's also the flyers up there on that. And I'm asking, please, come join us, help us raise funds to keep it going, to salute and honor our veterans and those that are active duty who are today arming and manning the gates of freedom to keep us free to what we want to do. All veterans, would you please stand? And the biggest part of where I come from is that we will also honor the police officers and firefighters, because they not only wore a uniform before, but they came home and put another uniform on. They are protecting the streets of today for us. So we consider them brothers in arms. Thank you very much. And that's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck. Okay, Somali Youth, and I hope I pronounced this right. Hamdi? Is he still? Okay. Okay. Would you like to come up and let us know what's going on in your community?
Good evening. I think my voice is loud, right? Do you hear me or do I need that?
You need it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So good evening. I came to say hello to you all. I did not prepare enough to present anything, but I think for me tonight is meet and greet. Our agency is Somali Youth and Family Club, and we serve many refugee families that reside mostly at Creston Point Apartments, which is little bit and kind of an island in West Hill or Skyway, little island, but very populated and very rich in terms of culture and other things that we can bring to West Hill or Skyway. I get confused between the two names all the time, but I think West Hill is the larger name, right?
Yep.
Yes. So we are very proud of being part of West Hill Skyway. We are very proud of all of you, very nice people. I don't have the names or to say loud, but I have a feeling, positive feeling, that there are very wonderful people that are here tonight, and some of them are not here tonight, including the police that I was a little bit grilling to get this. But we have, as Somali community or East African community, we have that positive feeling that we're not any different than anybody. We have families, we have children, we play, we fight, we dance, we do something wrong sometimes, like any other community. So we're not people that are strangers. I think the humanity is great in our heart, and I believe that it's great in your heart. I just stood up to say hello to you, and probably I'm so happy to be in front of you tonight. And thank you for having me. Adam is with me, his children are with me. They are, part of the community as well. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
I was going to ask, can you tell us a little bit about some of the exciting news for Small Youth and Family as far as the grant funding and the programming that's going to be happening, the new programming that's going to be happening?
Yes, thank you for reminding me that. We've been quite, sometimes, honestly, struggling a lot. The community was struggling a lot, and the resources are not so great in West Hill. As you all know, we are an unincorporated area. At the beginning, we felt like, we have come from refugee camps, but this is not any different than refugee camp in terms of resources. Because when we asked, where are we? They told us that, hey, there's no mayor for here. Okay, so where do we go? We even learned the connection with the county recently, honestly. So we were not informed community, and I think in many ways, many of us are not informed community. And a part of the information that we always seek or receive is what brings progress to our thinking and to our going forward, to discovering what are the possibilities and how can we bring some resources to the area and to the community. And recently, we're so grateful that King County has put forward that initiative with Best Stars for Kids, which is a program that is helping all our children, no race, no color, all our children. Best Stars for Kids is a program for helping the children. And I'm so proud of our executive. Honestly, I love him dearly, Dow Constantine, for being a man of vision in that aspect and making sure that he how do I say that? Making sure that he is a leader that can pass challenges, that can break barriers in that aspect. I truly appreciate that someone is reigning to the community, all of the communities, and things are changing and are changing to the better for our children, which I am hoping that even Skyway or West Hill one day, hopefully, will have the choice to do what it wants, not what anybody wants, what it is people want. And it is people will be more connected, because if we are educated, our children are educated, even when we all are gone, then that is something that he invested into the future of all our children. So we have got some good amount of money to support Crescent Point Apartments and the children. There's lots of children there that really need help. So we received quite a substantial amount of money to support after-school program. We're also looking some amount for early learning, because I think early learning is what builds the foundation of a thriving community. So that's all I want to share with you, and I'm so proud of Dow Constantine. And he's, I love him. Thank you. Thank you.
Cynthia, we get the...
Am I last again tonight?
You're last again tonight. We'll have to start reverse it next time.
Complex, Luke.
First in our hearts.
So it seems like a lot of the discussion tonight has not been about technical aspects, except maybe for the comp plan and the non-silo effect that we're going to move into in the county. So I think I'm going to go in the same direction. I've got roots in the community, My dad had his office up here in Skyway for almost 40 years, and I've lived in the neighborhood since 1992. So I'm a Skywayite or a West Hill person. We recently had a commissioner that was reelected. Gary Schultz is serving his second-year term as one of your 3 elected commissioners, elected by the people that live in this community. We are all about customer service, courtesy, equity, and consistency, right? The rates that you pay for your water and sewer service, that's the only thing that funds our operation. There are approximately 17,000 people that we provide water and or sewer service to in this community, and when we're fully staffed, we do that with 10 people. So we're all about efficiency as well. As part of our budgeting process, we offer a low-income rate discount. And information will be coming out in March, and you can check and see if you or someone that you know is eligible for that. And last but not least, we're all about communication. There are 3 ways that you can get in touch with us, or that we communicate with you. With our bill every 2 months, we send out a newsletter. We also have a website, www.skywayws, for water and sewer.org. And if you're not into either one of those venues, you can always call, all right? 7:30 to 4, Monday through Friday, or send an email into our website. And again, 9 people right now that are working that is our staff. You will get an answer to questions that you have. All right? And I'm gonna hang around after the meeting, so feel free to come and see me directly. Devin.
You gotta say something about the King County right-of-way tax.
You can check out our website. There's information on our website.
Well, let me say something, Jen. Cynthia, thank you for being one of the people who stood up to the King County Council and made the concerns of the community known, both at the time that they were deliberating this profoundly flawed revenue source, as well as in informing the community on how to comment on the implementation plan that apparently they're hatching right now.
Well, what I will say is that we, as the Water and Sewer District, representing you, have a different perspective on that matter than the county does. And we're in discussion with that, and the county is continuing to take comments. Actually, this Friday, there will be a public comment period, and so your perspective, our perspective, will be shared at that point as well, and we'll keep you posted.
Well, the interesting thing is how the county keeps deflecting that, well, the utilities don't have to pass on this tax. But as far as I understand, public utilities like Skyway Water and Sewer do have to pass on all of their costs to the customer.
We don't have to. We can cut our budget, we can cut our service.
So right now, every year, the district looks at what it costs us to operate and what monies we need to set aside in order to do capital, we call them capital improvements, but they're capital sustenance, all right? There's nothing gold-plated here. When a pipe wears out, it needs to be replaced. That's what your rates pay for. If there was an additional tax that was added, then we would have to pass that on to our customers, because that is the only revenue source that we have, is the rates that you pay. So if you want to have more discussion about that, you can come and see me after the meeting.
Oh, is there a lift station in Skyway Park? I thought I saw something in the newsletter about it.
Is there a lift station?
The sewer lift station, Skyway Park.
The improvement, whatever.
Oh, there is a project there. The project has not started yet. What you may have seen was we have a well site and treatment upgrade project that was recently advertised, and we'll start construction either later this month or early February. We'll break ground. So, and our next.
So the other project is still on hold?
Not on hold, in
progress.
In progress is the best I would say at this point.
Okay.
I'm hesitant to say coming soon, but yeah, in progress. Yes.
I want to thank you for your newsletter. It's really very readable and explains extremely well what you're paying for and what you're doing.
Oh, good.
I
Glad to
really
hear that.
appreciate it. And it also had the invitation to this evening's meeting in it, and I appreciate that.
So one of the things we do, obviously, because your rates are paying for it, District business comes first, but space is made available to community organizations, whatever space we have available, as long as it's something of interest or general information for the community. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I would like to have all of the board members from the West Hill Community Association stand up so the people who are not aware of who you are, I'm going to put you on the spot. Anytime you see one of these ladies or gentlemen in the community, guys, Curtis Litt, you're kind of been standing all the time. Wave your hands so they know who you are. Talk to them. They do not fight. I can guarantee that. If you have questions about what's going on in the community, these people can get you answers. And if you would like, we're not a secret society. We meet every second Wednesday at the Fire Department's administrative. Stop in from 7 to 9. Witness our meetings. If you have something that you would like to interject at that time, we work real good if you tell us what you need or want. Okay? So,
We have snacks.
Do we have any more community? Do we have any more community reports or anything else that somebody would like to stay in closing?
Good in the order?
Good in the order?
I'm not going to let this meeting go.
There's still corrupting and everything going on, and stuff, not doing everything on the proper rate.
You have anything, Devin?
Yeah, I'm not going to let this meeting go without saying
Thank you so much, you guys. It is almost 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and you guys sat through that whole meeting. It is amazing. We had kiddos in here that sat through the whole thing. I want to thank them if they already left. You guys are amazing. You're champs for sitting through this. It tells us, folks that we're standing here today, that you value what's going on, you care about what's going on in your community, and you're committed to doing something about it. So we want to continue seeing you guys at things, things that are even more exciting than this, whether it's, a party or outdoor movies or whatever it is. We hope we continue to see you guys at those places. And again, your support is really, really valuable. So mywesthill.org. Not only can you find our storefront officer Jimmy's contact information on mywesthill.org, you can find out how to keep these things sustained through your monthly support. So I wanted to pitch that one more time before you guys forget, and I know we're all going to go home and crash, but maybe tomorrow you can log in, check it out. Thank you so much, you guys are amazing. And thank you to the VFW for hosting.
Okay, everybody be safe.
I did forget one thing.
Okay.
And I want to thank the community because when we did the motorcycle ride, the toys for kids, we brought in almost $40,000 worth of toys. Half of the toys went to Child Haven. The other half went out to Fort Lewis to their Wish Tree program. And I got a report back. 190-some kids got a gift for Christmas at the military base. And I want to thank you guys for taking care of it.
Okay, thank you from the Sheriff's Department again for being here. We'll look forward to seeing you in the future. Everybody be safe going home. We all are always safe going